Hello everybody, welcome back to the range. Tom here, and today we're doing a little bit different. We are going to be doing a junkyard style build. I got these 255 gasser castings laying around, got some monster truck rims, got a just truck space. We're gonna kind of put all these together and see what I come up with. And it being a last minute video, I know I'm late on it, but I decided, it was I was last minute because it was a last minute build. Like, it took me 3 days to put this thing together. And, the diecast misfits asked me to be a guest build later on in the year, around June, I think. But they're doing their annual builds, so I wanted to jump in on one because I haven't done one in a while. So, I was talking to some buddies up on Instagram. They was talking about how they was doing a certain build for the diecast misfits, and I was like, you know what, I want in on this. And the casting they chose was, I guess, a 55 gasser. So I'm not going to say the theme because I'm just going to kind of give you guys an idea of what I'm doing. You guys can kind of get an idea of where it's going to, and there was a lot of trial and error trying to get things to fit, trying to get certain things, how I was going to do it, what kind of engine, if I was going to throw one in there, which I was going to. It just took me a while to get everything together. I wanted it to be perfect. I just kind of started going through some of my 3D printed parts, started pulling stuff out of there. My brass tubing, started getting stuff out of there. Just kind of started mocking up stuff. I cut the front end off of one of the 55 gassers because it was kind of bent. Well, both of them are bent a little bit in the front end, so I just took the best out of the two and used it for the actual body itself. And what I'm doing here is I'm kind of making it to where I can extend the front end a little bit. And you guys will see that here in a little bit. I'm trying to get stuff measured because I'm wanting the engine to fit in it. I'm wanting to get it to where, it's the right length. This one was a little bit too long for what I was trying to do, so I had to shorten it up a little bit. And, it was a lot. There wasn't a lot of cutting, but the paint, I didn't really airbrush a lot of paint. The only thing I airbrushed is once I got everything said and done, I just airbrushed it in aluminum color, let it dry for about 24 hours, and then I started with the weathering and the hand paints. So, yeah, I think I might have given something a little bit away, but I don't know. But what I was wanting to do here is I was going to cut off the back half of the 55 gasser here and just pretty much take off the entire back half of the roof. Kind of wasn't thinking about it at the time, so I just I didn't think about putting anything for the interior for this point. Didn't think about that, so I didn't really plan this out. Like I said, I was trying to get it done quickly. I didn't really plan anything out or think anything through. I just started throwing stuff together. I glued it, and then I put the tape around it to hold it in place while I was using the back half of the body of the 55 as roof, and I was putting it as kind of like a little skid, like plate going up around towards the other 55 gasser. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of the Ecto 1 going with this dome style. And I wanted to be having monster truck tires. I've been trying to find a reason to use the monster truck tires. I'm glad I did. So after I got that done, I was mixing up some JB Weld, and trust me, I've been using a lot of JB Weld, but I wanted to put the JB Weld along the seams of the two gassers to kind of blend it in together, to kind of give it like a solid seam. Because you're not going to see the seam after everything's said and done. So you know, and I'm trying to get better using the JB Weld and stuff. And, you know, I got a second project I'm kind of working on off camera, but I am recording it for a video. So while I was working on this, I was actually working on another build, you know, kind of doing 2 videos at once. But I wanted to get this one done so I can get it up and posted on YouTube and get everything ready to go for my next build. You know, at this point, it's a point of the build. I'm still kind of up in the air. You know, I have some 3D printed pieces, the support plates that were on there. I had this one that was the perfect width, the perfect length that would fit between the 2 back halves of the 255 gassers, you know, so I was combining it together just to make it more of a solid body, I should say. You know, I got a bunch of stuff just laying around. You know, I pretty much every time I did something with this, I always test fit it. And you see, I cut the front half of the 55 gasser off because of that little extension piece that I made earlier on. And, you know, like I said, I just wanted to get it the right length because I had a motor I was going to stick in it. And, you know, I was getting an idea of, like, where I was going to have... Like, I was originally going to use this piece to put the front half of the front end of the gasser, but it didn't work that well, so I didn't really use it for that. Instead, you know, I was putting the engine in, I was remeasuring some little support pieces for the front half, you know, just in case, like, you know, it had something to sit on to make it level or make it look decent. So I decided the engine I was going to use, I got the engine from Jack's Diecast Garage. He sent me a bunch of these style engines, you know, all kinds of different style engines, really. And I used a few of Jack's parts on this build. And I really like this kind of engine. It's good for like a little dragster style engine, a little rat rod style engine, Gaslands build engine, you know. It's just something along there. It's just something you don't see on a normal everyday car. And you guys know people have done some crazy stuff with rat rods, and actually standard cars too, because some people's actually put like 2 engines in them, or 2 side by side, one front of the other, you know, that kind of deal. So I wanted to try it out with this, and I thought about figuring out a way to actually make the extended front end kind of match up and blend in and everything, and honestly, that was just too much work. So I took these brass rods, glued it in the inner parts of the front end. I ended up taking the body off, you know, doing the whole thing, lining it up, making sure everything was good to go, because I wanted it to flow. I wanted it to look cool. It didn't have to look pretty. It just had to look somewhat straight, somewhat, you know, where it looked like if I were to actually fill it in, I could fill it in and you wouldn't even be able to tell that I had cut it and everything else, you know, that whole thing. But that was just too much hassle for me, so I was like, you know what, I ain't even gonna try it. You know, of course I put like my baking soda in there so the glue will set like more like as a cement kind of thing. You know, I'm putting this on there, matching it up with the support bars that I got on the bottom, trying to get a length of how far I have to go out. So I knew that I had to shorten both of these rods up a little bit to get it to the length that I wanted. And I know you guys are probably looking there like, you know, he's going the Giga Horse style. In a way, that's kind of what it looks like. It kind of does, almost like the front end move, that 55 gasser, trying to blend everything in. It almost it's similar to the Giga Horse, even though the Giga Horse was Cadillacs. And I'm doing this because somebody's wanting me to build them a Giga Horse from scratch and everything. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the idea of how to do it, what I'm going to do. I just got to get the castings. So once I get the castings, I'm going to start looking into 3D parts for it, see if I can find like a 3D engine or, something in that area to give it the feel of the Giga Horse, make it look like it's supposed to be a replica. And I'm covering these up. If you haven't figured it out by now, you know now. It's like I said, it's Diecast Misfits 55 Gaslands build. That's what we're doing with this one. This is a Junkyard Gaslands build, which is pretty much what a Gasland style vehicle, Mad Max, whatever you want to call it, Wasteland. It's just something they pull out of the junkyard, throw it together, and make it run. I got all these armor plates from eBay, so I'm kind of putting them here, there, and everywhere, just kind of getting like a little feel like there could be somebody up there with a rifle or something sticking out of the windows. And I'm trying to make everything look like it belong with each other. And I know Gaslands ain't supposed to look normal, they're not supposed to look symmetrical or whatever. But there was some things I didn't do. I ended up finding my screen mesh and used it for the front window, so I'm kind of got it glued, and I'm trying to trim it down a little bit right now to get it to where it'll fit and it'll look like it belongs there. And right now, like I already test fitted like the engine and everything, how it was gonna go. I put a plate down so the engine would kind of set up a little higher. I did not put exhaust on this because I was going through it. I couldn't figure out how I wanted to do the exhaust or even put an exhaust on it, because like I said, I was throwing myself on a deadline. I was like, I gotta get it done today and go from there. A bunch of the armor pieces I had from eBay, those guns on the side I got from Jack's Diecast Garage. Had a little turret mount to it, so I kind of mounted it to the side because to me it looked a little too big to fit on the top, so I didn't even worry about putting that one on the top. I put a different one. I put like a small Gatling gun style on there. And these are not the monster truck wheels that I'm using. Those orange ones in the beginning are the ones I'm using. They were just in paint at the time I was doing this. And you're probably wondering, how the heck did I get the rubber tires off of the rims for the monster trucks? Boil them. Put them in boiling water. Let them set for maybe about a couple minutes. And then when you pull them out, they're going to be hot. And all you do is just put a little bit of pressure and they'll slide right back off. And to put them back on, you boil the tires again. Make sure your clear coat is fully cured. And do the exact same thing. Once they're soft enough, you just get the rim, put it over top of the rim and push it down. Line everything up, and you'll see at the final results what I'm talking about. And they look perfect. The way I did the paint on them, the rust effects on them, they look awesome. And I used some of the older tires. Like I said, the ones I'm using are just kind of for like mock-up, just seeing how everything's gonna fit with the monster truck style tires. And I'm putting more mesh in, because I'm trying to put it a little bit, because I just could not think of anything. So I was trying to think of something really quick to do, and I had this mesh kind of laying around, so I put a little bit of glue down, set it on there, cut it to the shape, kind of did what I needed to do to make it look like it was kind of just partially welded on there, I guess. And, trimming it up, like, that was the easy part. That really was, and getting everything together, making sure, and right now I'm kind of adjusting the gun. I had to sand down the turret piece of it a little bit to get it to where it'll fit on there a little smaller or a little closer to the body. And at this point, it's really starting to take shape of what I'm doing. And Right now I'm just kind of testing some ideas about like what I was gonna do for an axle. I had to put a skull on here, so I found this really cool skull out of my Citadel Skulls little package, and it kind of looks like a demon style ram head. So I wanted to throw it on the back of here, just kind of have that look of it, because like I said, it was a quick build. I wasn't thinking a lot. I was just kind of randomly putting stuff together just to see how it looked. I made a little ladder on the side with some extra armor pieces and just cut some tubes, make it look like a ladder up and down. I had these little gas or fuel cans or whatever these were. I don't know what they are, but I got them from Jack's Diecast Garage, and they look like where I put them. Yeah, I know in a Gasland situations, pretty much those would be exposed to explosions and stuff, but honestly, it didn't bother me. It really didn't. And eventually I'm going to be able to do these 3D printed parts myself. Eventually, I'm going to get a 3D printer. I'm going to be making 3D parts for customs. I'm going to try to figure something out by creating my own bases for certain cars. I wanted to put flags on this one, so that's what I'm doing here. I'm taking a piece of styrene. I have a brass tube sitting out to the side, kind of making the mounts for where the flags are going to be posted on, so they're on there. I did have to bend them a little bit, because if I put them straight in, they kind of tilted forward, so when I bent them backward a little bit, it looked better. I knew I was going in the right direction with this one. And right now I'm getting close to getting ready to start painting this thing. So I'm trying to make sure all the little fine little details. I don't show me hand painting this thing or anything like that. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. But I'm making the tips of the flags. I'm actually making the flags out of styrene, and then I was going to glue them together, cut them out to where they look like a kind of one of the battle flags from a Gasland style. Excuse me. And, I wanted it to kind of, give it that look, of a tattered kind of flag just hanging off the back. I made two of them, of course. I glued a part on, and I had some smaller skulls, like the actual 1/65 scale that would look the size of a human skull, and I used them for the toppers of the flags. So I literally put skulls on the tops of the flags, like the flags were shoved through the human skull to pretty much that's pretty much what I was trying to go for. And I'm bending them around, kind of giving them a wavy look, just wanting, like I said, I'm wanting to get this done. And I'm really glad, even though I kind of didn't take me long to do this build, everything really came together really good with this, honestly, with me just throwing everything around. And nothing went wrong. And with the Gasland style builds, honestly, you can't do no wrong with them. Like, honestly, they're made to look like something got chopped up, something got crap welded together, that kind of style. So we're gonna go ahead and look at what we started off with. Haha, gotcha. So, I wanted to kind of do something a little funny with this one. Pretty much we started off with nothing, grabbed some stuff out of the junkyard, and we made something cool for the Diecast Misfits Gaslands 55 Getzers. So why don't we go ahead and check out the final results.